What's up, bro? Alex here with Retroactive Jealousy OCD Recovery. So, you clicked on this video. First off, I want to say, I'm sorry, man. I know what you're going through. I feel you. This shit sucks. It's really painful. But there is hope. You can heal from this. You can get over this. And you can get to an amazing point in your relationship where this doesn't bother you at all. Now, in this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly why you're dealing with this in the first place, and also offer you some really healthy and productive solutions so that you can move forward, you can heal, and you can surrender to the love in your relationship. So let's get to it. So, reason number one that you're dealing with jealousy of your girlfriend's past is because of evolutionary psychology. Our brains, the brain of a man, is wired to take into account making good decisions about choosing a partner, right? So if we have evidence, we find out, about our partner's past, we have evidence of them being promiscuous or having a lot of partners or whatever comes up, that can create paternal uncertainty. So we choose to have a baby with them, for example. How are we going to know if this baby is ours, right? Or we could be, left in the dust and this partner that we chose just decides to leave us for whatever reason, right? So they might not even stay with us. That's the whole idea. So it's a defense mechanism that our brain and our nervous system has evolved to maintain in order to keep us safe. But here's the thing. Just because it is evolutionarily adaptive does not necessarily mean it is a good thing. And it seems like there's a little bit of a trend here in the last 5-10 years where people are really focusing in on evolutionary psychology and how that explains a lot of behaviors and how we can sort of hack the system and get people to do things. Yeah, there's definitely truth in this, but it's not necessarily something that we want to, lean towards or steep to. We've evolved this way and it's great. We've survived for a long time, but we can continue to evolve and grow and expand our consciousness so we can make even better decisions, and grow out of our current wiring that we've got in our brain and in our body. The second factor in this jealousy here is human psychology. So this is this basic premise where the more that you invest in something, the more fearful that you are of losing it. Let's say you've been with your girlfriend for a couple of years, but she tells you about somebody in her past that, you compare yourself to, right? Maybe you don't feel as good as this other person. Or maybe she mentions that she's got a really big crush on a celebrity and you're triggered into this idea that, as soon as this person shows up, that she's gonna leave you for this person. This whole premise is that the amount of investment that you're putting in is not equal to what your partner's putting in, or right? You don't believe that she's going to stay given the amount of investment that you put in. So it's totally, the foundation here is totally uneasy. But here's the thing. If she's showing that she's actually interested in you with her words and with her actions, then this totally shouldn't matter. This is just kind of like a surface level piece here in you feeling kind of triggered about a totally unlikely scenario, right? Or something that you're totally overvaluing in your mind. So these first two factors that I've mentioned here, people seem to, at least in my experience, what I've observed, seem to be overvaluing these and not focusing on this third one. And that third one is major self-worth issues, right? So having poor self-esteem and feeling unworthy. And when you feel this way about yourself, what it does in your relationship is it breeds codependency. You feeling like you need your partner to be a certain way, to behave a certain way, to do things for you so that you feel safe and you feel okay. So really, this is the most important piece here, right? Because this is actually what can fuel the jealousy into it becoming obsessive. And what's going on here is that you are looking for a solution for your own insecurities, your own traumas, the emotional piece inside of you, outside of yourself, right? You're looking to resolve those things like a Band-Aid. And this is totally unsustainable. You've got to make sure that you're focusing on becoming more aware of these patterns in you so that you can heal them and really, really patch them up in the way that they need to so that you can feel safer in the relationship. The past itself that your girlfriend has told you about is not really the problem here. The problem here is you being triggered by whatever thing she told you. Her past is triggering something inside of you that you need to heal and resolve and let go of. And when you do that, you won't care anymore, right? This is the most important, the biggest root cause of RJ and OCD. So some other factors that I want to mention that might be contributing to your experience with the jealousy. It's a history of obsessive and compulsive disorder type behaviors. You know, are you wanting things to be perfectly straight? Are you messing with your clothes or your hair or parts around your house, right? You may not be even aware that you've been doing this for your entire life up to this point until you got triggered by this relationship that you're in. And it can kind of hit people like a brick wall. Also, having a body filled with toxins or being in very poor physical and having poor digestive health. And the reason why this is so important is because your neurotransmitters, the chemicals that get communicated and moved throughout your brain and your nervous system, are what impact and influence and basically maintain your experience of a person, right? You experience life through your nervous system, through your brain. And the neurotransmitters are what make that happen. It's what facilitates that, right? So if you have a whole bunch of toxins in your body, maybe you eat a poor diet or you had a whole bunch of antibiotics, just a couple things, examples there, that can block proper production and the receptors, you know, that are in charge of maintaining your neurotransmitters. So do not undervalue this and take inventory about whether you have poor diet and lifestyle. Also, you could be totally unaware of the emotions that might be fueling the obsessive behavior, or you could have mental and emotional or physical trauma that's happened to the brain. They kind of go hand in hand here. You can have trapped emotions and energy from certain experiences that you had in your past. They get stuck in your body, they can get stuck in your brain, and they can alter the wiring in your brain that make your body and your brain totally dysfunctional. Going along with that also is understanding the physiology of your brain and how that is involved in this whole cycle. The emotional part of your brain, the midbrain right here, the limbic system as it's called, is a major factor in your emotions, right? The OCD cycle. So your limbic system can be totally overactive, and the front part of your brain, the neocortex, that's the logic and reason part of your brain, can be underdeveloped. And so if you can bring that balance back to your brain, man, that can just make a tremendous difference in your experience with this condition. So here are some common things that I see people doing if they have this problem. And let me tell you, you do not want to do these things. Stay far away. Number one is getting angry at your partner and blaming her for how you feel. You don't want to do this because you have to recognize that she did not do this to you, right? This is your problem. This is your problem. You are being triggered by something that she said. And you getting angry at her and getting mad at her and blaming her, it's just going to cause more suffering for both you and her, and the relationship is going to suffer. So don't do this. It does not help anything. Next up, you do not want to explore the intrusive thoughts that you might be experiencing and going down the rabbit hole and trying to get an answer for whatever it is that's inside of your mind. The job of the mind is to think, and it's never going to stop thinking. So you have to realize that these thoughts are endless, right? What you have to actually practice doing instead is removing your attention from these thoughts as much as you can. And along with that, you don't want to ask her a lot of questions. This is probably the most common compulsion that I see, and that is you're trying to find relief in the short term for the anxiety that you feel. But the problem is that it's only bringing more context into your obsession with this, and it also maintains the OCD cycle. So not only is this not productive, but it could actually make things worse. So don't do that. Additionally, don't cheat on her. Do not cheat on your girlfriend. I don't think I should need to explain why this is, but this gets you nowhere. Next is getting into red pill, MGTOW, black pill, or manosphere circles. Now, if you're not familiar with what these spaces are, they're basically spaces on the internet for very bitter, angry men to spew hate and nonsense about women, built around this sort of evolutionary psychology facade and trying to help people, help men especially, with self-improvement and making more money. And I will say I fell very deep into this trap, and it made me so miserable. It was one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life to put this content in front of my face all the time. And you don't want to do this, right? Because basically what it does is it's a breeding ground for creating avoidant, insecure men, right? Who don't trust women. And I don't want that for you, right? Just like I didn't want that for me, but I just fell into the trap. You want to learn to trust people and believe that people are going to act in good faith. Spewing hate is not going to make this any better, right? It's just not. It's going to make it way, way worse. And of course, finally, you definitely do not want to break up and become a pickup artist and try to have sex with lots of other women. Why is this not productive? Well, because the most good that this is going to do for you is just boosting up your ego. And that's it. And it's going to do way more bad for you in pushing the suffering and the emotions and all the trauma and insecurities that you have deeper and deeper into your psyche so that it's more difficult for you to access them. Don't do this. Do not do this. I would not recommend this. So let's talk about some healthier solutions. Why don't we? What should you actually do now that you've identified you have this problem? Well, first, you have to admit that this is your problem in the first place. This is nobody else's problem but yours, okay? It's not your partner's problem. It's not your parents' problem. Anyone else's problem but yours. Now, only after you have admitted this is your problem, you can start to find help. Hire a coach. Start investing in the healing process. Invest in yourself so that you can live a healthier, happier life full of more love. It's so, so worth it. As you start healing, you want to focus on healing yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Why do I say all of these things? Well, that's because all of these things can factor into your attitude towards your partner's past, right? They can all influence that. All of them can contribute to the most root causes of your experience as a person. So if you address all of these over time, you will change and you will break free from the retroactive jealousy. Going along with this, you also want to focus on healing your attachment style, right? So attachment is basically the way that you give and receive love with other people. So as you heal physically, mentally, emotionally, and so on, that's naturally going to unfold, right? You're gonna feel more safe and secure in relationships, but you want to make sure that you're maintaining a direct focus on this, because this, how you interact with other people, is really what determines the quality of your life. So make sure you're addressing that directly and you're becoming aware of the old patterns and starting to practice new ones. And finally, maybe the most important factor here is learning forgiveness. Learning to forgive yourself, learning to forgive your partner, learning to forgive any and all people from your past. Forgive anything and everything you can even think of, because this allows you to break free from whatever it is that you're holding on to. That's it for this video. I hope you got some value from it. If you need help overcoming retroactive jealousy, go ahead and schedule a free consult with me in the description below, and I'll help you beat this thing and surrender to the love in your relationship. See you in the next one.